What happens when the strongest person in the room faces a loss so devastating it nearly destroys everything she's built? That's the untold story of Jolene Macintyre, the powerhouse behind Bad Chad Customs. To the world, Jolene seemed unstoppable, balancing business, family, and fame with effortless grace. But behind the cameras, she was carrying battles that few ever knew. And when tragedy struck, everything she had worked for nearly came crashing down. Today, we're peeling back the curtain on Jolene's life, revealing the heartbreak, the resilience, and the transformation that turned her darkest moments into her greatest strength. Long before Discovery Channel fame, Jolene Macintyre was already the engine keeping Bad Chad Customs alive. While Chad built cars from scraps, Jolene built the foundation that allowed the brand to thrive. She wasn't just helping out. She managed budgets, scheduled projects, negotiated deals, and even kept cameras rolling when no one else could. Without Jolene, many of the cars fans adored might never have left the garage. But the work didn't stop with finances and planning. Jolene was also Chad's partners in life, which meant professional disagreements easily spilled into personal territory. Heated debates about budgets, deadlines, and creative risks sometimes blurred the line between love and work. And as if managing a fast-growing business wasn't enough, Jolene also found herself helping raise Chad's children from his previous relationship. Balancing stepmom duties with her role as business manager was no small task. Those closest to her say Jolene was both admired and misunderstood. She was the one who had to say no when spending went over budget, or when timelines weren't realistic. That often made her the bad guy in the room, but it also made her the reason things actually got done. The bigger the projects became, the heavier the weight on Jolene's shoulders. Burnout loomed constantly, yet she pushed forward, driven by loyalty and determination. But as tough as this balancing act was, it would soon pale in comparison to what was waiting for her off camera. The turning point came when a video of Chad's replica Bugatti, filmed and shared by Jolene, went viral. Overnight, a small Nova Scotia garage transformed into an international sensation. Discovery Channel soon came calling, and Bad Chad Customs exploded onto television screens worldwide. To millions of viewers, it looked like an overnight success story. But for Jolene Macintyre, success meant the stakes and the pressure skyrocketed. On camera, Chad was the creative mastermind, but behind the scenes, Jolene was the glue. She made sure deadlines were met, budgets stayed intact, and the team could deliver under the spotlight. For every wild idea Chad had, Jolene found a way to make it actually happen. That balance, his improvisation against her organization, was what made the show work. But fame is a double-edged sword. Suddenly, there were endless shooting schedules, demanding producers and fans expecting constant content. Jolene's workload doubled, sometimes tripled. She wasn't just managing the garage anymore. She was running a television production, maintaining social media accounts, and steering a brand that had grown far beyond Nova Scotia. Late nights blurred into early mornings. Stress piled up, and arguments behind the scenes grew louder. At one point, Jolene quietly considered stepping away altogether. The fame that everyone else saw as glamorous was, for her, an exhausting grind. And yet, she stayed. She stayed for Chad. She stayed for the brand they had built from nothing. She stayed because walking away felt like failure. What she didn't know was that an even greater test was still ahead. Even as the cameras rolled and millions tuned in, cracks were forming behind the polished image of Bad Chad Customs. Jolene wasn't just tired, she was running on fumes. Close friends later revealed that she had considered stepping away from the spotlight altogether. The relentless pace left her physically drained and emotionally stretched thin. Inside the garage, tension simmered. Jolene often clashed with Chad over finances and scheduling. While his creativity thrived in chaos, she thrived on structure. That difference, which once made them the perfect team, now became a source of constant conflict. Heated arguments sometimes carried from the workshop floor straight into their living room. On top of that, family responsibilities weighed heavy. Jolene wanted to provide stability for Chad's children, yet the late nights, long shoots, and chaotic schedule left little room for calm family life. To her, it felt like she was trying to hold three different worlds together: business partner, stepmother, and fiancé. The thought of leaving crossed her mind more than once. She could have walked away, chosen peace, and let the business run its course without her. But every time she considered it, she remembered what they had built together. She couldn't bring herself to abandon it. That decision to stay, while admirable, would soon collide with a devastating personal tragedy. And this time, it wasn't about budgets, deadlines, or disagreements. It was about something far deeper, something that would shake Jolene to her very core. Late in 2024, Jolene's world shattered. Her mother, her anchor, her source of strength, was suddenly diagnosed with terminal cancer. Within weeks, Jolene went from balancing business chaos to facing the most personal heartbreak of her life. On November 28th, her mother passed away, leaving an irreplaceable void. The timing couldn't have been crueler. On one hand, Jolene was still expected to manage the business, keep projects on track, and appear strong for the cameras. On the other, she was a grieving daughter, barely holding it together as she watched her world collapse. Her social media posts during this time revealed the depth of her pain. "My mother was the most devoted woman," Jolene wrote. "I know she's still watching over me, even if she's no longer here." Those words resonated with thousands of followers who were struck by her honesty. But what they didn't see was the private breakdowns, the sleepless nights, and the crushing grief that threatened to stop everything in its tracks. Projects stalled. Morale dropped. Even Chad admitted he could see the difference in her spirit. It was as though the unstoppable force that had carried Bad Chad Customs forward had suddenly lost all momentum. For Jolene, the choice was agonizing: step back to heal or push forward to protect the empire they had built. And in her darkest moment, she made the hardest decision of all. She chose to keep going. After the funeral, Jolene could have disappeared. No one would have blamed her, but instead she made the bold choice to pour her grief into her work. In early 2025, she began restructuring Hilt's Auto Company, determined to honor her mother by pushing forward. Unfinished projects were pulled back onto the table, including a long-planned showroom that symbolized not just the cars they built, but the resilience of the entire team. Jolene oversaw every detail, from budgets and partners to design and construction. For her, the showroom wasn't just a business venture, it was a tribute. Family played a key role in her healing. When Chad's son Colton returned to team activities, it gave Jolene renewed strength. Their bond reminded her that family was still at the center of everything, even when loss made it feel otherwise. That connection, alongside Chad's unwavering presence, became a lifeline. By mid-2025, Jolene was back on the global stage, this time not through television or so on, but through international tours. Trips to Australia, Finland, and Sweden allowed her to connect directly with car enthusiasts worldwide. She organized events, managed partnerships, and carried herself as the face of Bad Chad Customs. Every mile traveled, every handshake, every project finished was a reminder. Grief hadn't broken her. It had remade her into someone stronger, someone more determined. Jolene's perspective shifted after her mother's passing. For years, she had defined herself by work, deadlines, and constant growth. But now she began to value quiet moments: family dinners, road trips, simple time with Chad and the team. This balance didn't weaken her ambition. Instead, it made her sharper. Under Jolene's guidance, Bad Chad Customs became more than a garage. The brand expanded into merchandise, partnerships, and online dominance. Their YouTube and Facebook channels now reach nearly 70 million viewers every month. Jolene ensures uploads are consistent, videos high quality, and the brand's message clear. Her efforts also broke barriers in a male-dominated industry. Fans and colleagues alike now see her as a role model, a woman who proved that leadership, resilience, and emotional strength are just as important as creative genius. Every decision she makes, from sponsorship deals to global tours, carries her stamp of professionalism. And through it all, Jolene has never hidden her grief. Instead, she embraces it, often sharing that her mother's memory fuels her determination. She has turned personal pain into public inspiration. Jolene Macintyre is no longer just the woman behind Bad Chad Customs. She's the reason it survived its darkest days. And she's proof that even the deepest losses can create unbreakable strength. Jolene's story isn't just about custom cars, it's about resilience. From her early days in Nova Scotia to becoming the backbone of an international brand, she has shown that success is never simple. It comes with pressure, conflict, and sometimes unimaginable loss. Her mother's passing in 2024 could have ended everything. Instead, it became the turning point that defined Jolene's legacy. She rebuilt, restructured, and reminded the world why Bad Chad Customs wasn't just Chad's dream. It was hers too. And while Chad might be the face most people recognize, Jolene is the force that kept the dream alive. Today, she stands as more than just a manager or business partner. She's a leader, an inspiration, and proof that even in the darkest times, we can choose to rise. If you've felt moved by Jolene's journey, show your support. Like this video, share it with someone who needs a reminder of resilience, and drop a comment below on what you think about her strength. Because stories like Jolene's remind us all, the halo of success often hides battles we can't see, but through struggle comes a strength that can inspire the world.